Welcome back. This is IJ's Subito episode recap for the Fiorentina match. It's me, Mikko, and with me there's Sterling.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
uh,
You're the optimist today, man. This is a positive podcast that we're bringing to you. Miko's new nickname is Optimus Prime. He is the most optimistic of the group by far, but I think I'd probably be in second place. So, yeah, I think we're gonna have a nice, fun, positive, upbeat podcast today because we just got to win.
yeah, yeah. Lucky we got a win, so it's easier to talk about it. Uh, so yeah, about the Fiorentina match, we had it yesterday late in Italy, Italy time. Uh, what was your kind of anticipation for the match, expectations?
Yeah,
Uh,
so I thought that this could definitely be a tricky match for us coming off the back of the Napoli result. Obviously, that was a very emotional match. It was one of those defeats that could definitely weigh on you and carry into the next couple of matches if you let it become that. So I was really happy with the mental approach yesterday because I think that there are versions of Inter that in the past would have let this match get away from them or would have found a way to potentially lose or draw that match. But I mean, let's be honest, Fiorentina weren't great, but I think that we also had a really good mental approach to the match yesterday. And, the first half was not great. I think that that was a little bit of a hangover from the Napoli match, but I thought that at halftime we really regrouped well. We decided to play the ball a little bit quicker. There was a couple of tactical shifts. Bastoni became almost like a regista at times during that second half, and that actually worked extremely well. But we were able to find the breakthrough through that Çalhanoğlu opener, and I'm glad actually that we had to toil for it a little bit today. It's nice sometimes when you get that early goal, of course, and the whole match is easier. But I'm glad that we had to toil a little bit and show some patience and some resilience. And then once we found that breakthrough, then obviously the match at that point was unlocked and it became a lot easier. Fiorentina did fight back. They did try and put us under some pressure, but really, they're pretty toothless right now. We got to be honest about that. There's a reason why they're in the relegation zone. It's because they really don't have anything going for them at this point. But once we got the opener, the match became a lot easier, opened up, and then that Sucic goal, we got to talk about that guy in depth, as well as some of the other performances, namely bisseck. But overall, I'm happy with the performance. You got to keep in mind that these things aren't in a vacuum. This is after a very tough defeat. So I think that mentally we did well.
yeah, absolutely. And for me, the first half, uh, I to me it wasn't like super poor. We kind of took the control from the start, but we were maybe a bit too slow with the ball, and Fiorentina was able to. They were able to defend. They were able to organize the defending, and we couldn't find the spaces anywhere. And even though there were few occasions when we were able to find the space, like the DiMarco chance, uh, when he was in the middle to connect the ball, and then was it the Bastoni when he made that nice run with the ball all the way to the keeper and almost scored. But apart from that, those cases, we didn't have much there going on. Although we didn't give anything, almost anything. I don't remember anything from Fiorentina in the first half. So I think we had pretty. The match was in our control from the start, I think. But that said, we were a bit slow, so we couldn't kind of get to the proper rhythm, or more like maybe Fiorentina was able to slow down the game a bit as well. But like you said, in the second half, that was better. We kind of Kivu didn't make changes. until like 70 minutes maybe. Uh,
Yeah,
so that was pretty nice in a sense that despite us scoring, there wasn't like Inzaghi style immediately some subs, and then we kind of confused our game maybe a bit. But he let the guys stay on the pitch because he saw that they are doing well, and then we got the second goal, and
yeah, I
that
like
was
that.
yeah, I
I
like that
like that
too.
it's not that he's always pre-planning the substitutions because that was the thing with Inzaghi. It always seemed like he had a match plan of when he was going to make substitutions, and he stuck to that quite frequently, and oftentimes it did hurt us. Sometimes it was fine, but there's matches that we all kind of have in mind where the team had balance and was performing really well, and then he made a substitution and we completely lost control of the match. Obviously, that famous Milan loss, where Giroud spun De Vrij, is probably the number one that comes to mind. Where we had control of the midfield and then he subbed off Çalhanoğlu and then everything just kind of fell apart after that. So I like that Kivu is he's watching the match. He's making a decision on his gut feeling as to whether or not a sub needs to happen, because I've seen other coaches, Guardiola being one, where he just doesn't always use all of his subs, and I think sometimes that's okay as well. You can let your starters finish the match, or the majority of your starters can finish the match. Um, it's not that long ago that we didn't have five subs. It's hard
Yeah,
to think of a world where you only can sub three players, but until 5 years ago, that was normal. So, I liked that he spoke about it in the press conference as well. He just said, "Hey, the guys were performing well, the ball was moving, the legs were moving, and I didn't feel the need to make any changes."
yeah, exactly, and yeah, to me, Kivu is starting to kind of he's starting to look better and better all the time, and especially what he's talking in those press conferences. I just like that what how he communicates and how he kind of what kind of thoughts he has, and then he expresses those thoughts. And I just like the guy, and hopefully he's just only going to get get better from here. Uh, about the match, and especially about few players we could talk about. First, I can briefly talk about Çalhanoğlu. Obviously, he got the two goals, one from the penalty, but the first one was the important one. Again, I think he's our top scorer at the moment in this season. And
I think he's tied for top scorer in the league.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. He he's been like so important. And just thinking like few months back in the summer, what was the kind of general feeling of the whole guy in the Inter community? Like it's like a night and day. What's the difference? How important he is actually at the
Yeah, thank
moment.
God we didn't let him go to Galatasaray for like 12 million, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah, it's a great point because obviously he was one of the big losers of the summer. After Champions League final, we went right into the Club World Cup, and he didn't play the Club World Cup, and then all of a sudden the rumors started popping out, and then there was that Lautaro quote that's infamous at this point, which I still don't think was really just for him, and I'm not even
yeah.
sure that it really was even him. At this point, maybe it
It,
was Pavard all along. We'll,
yeah,
we'll never
yeah,
truly know
yeah. It was just
who those
Marotta
for.
burning, burning him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think Morata, it was a general comment that I think Morata used to either put pressure on Hakan or to take pressure off of somebody else, because maybe
Yeah,
he knew that Hakan was going to be staying all along. But obviously, he didn't tell Hakan that based on Hakan's reaction in the media, because he wrote that very lengthy Instagram post, and the whole thing
yeah,
was just kind of a cluster. But listen, he stayed with us, and I don't think anyone's ever doubted his professionalism. He's been a model professional during his time here at Inter, and his start to the season wasn't phenomenal the first couple of matches, but he was coming back from not having played a ton of football, and he needed to play himself into a little bit of form and rhythm, and now he's found that, and he's been our best midfielder this season for sure.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
ability to shoot from long range has kept us in matches and has now unlocked matches for us as well. And it's something that this team really needs because, if we're being honest, we don't have a ton of natural creativity in the side. We are creative as a unit with the way that we play. We create chances, but we don't have a ton of individual skill players that can just create something out of nothing. So he's in a way the closest to that with just his pure shooting ability.
yeah, yeah. Uh, and I don't consider him great defensive player, and we've kind of got burned because of that few times.
For
But
sure.
like you said, this kind of ability to control and the ability to have this threat from outside the box, it's so great that even the opponents need to kind of adjust to that. And when they kind of lay down their guard even a bit, like yesterday happened, there was, I think, Gudmundsson was marking Calhanoglu throughout the game. When he went off, and then it was Fazzini who came in to replace. And it was Fazzini who kind of lost Calhanoglu there when he scored that goal. Like,
Mhm.
like he immediately saw the opportunity and let it go, and that was it. And that makes him kind of special player for us and very important. Uh, but in addition to Calhanoglu, we have I have at least two other names I want to discuss. What is your opinion about Bisseck in this match?
I think Bisek did very well. I saw early before the match started that the plan was to play him in the center, and we saw that against Union Saint Gilloise in the Champions League the other week, and he played really well then in that second half against David, who gave DeVry fits and put DeVry on a yellow card, so he was subbed at halftime. That was the ghost of Inzaghi there, but no, in all seriousness, that was a smart move from Kivu as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I agree.
yeah, but so listen, the thing with Bissek is that there is all the tools of a great player there. He's extremely quick across the ground, especially for his size. He has great size, absolutely great height. He's really good aerially, and he's fantastic technically for his size. He's a really good passer of the ball. The issue with him has just always been these brain farts, these moments in the match where he just loses the flight of the ball. He just doesn't attack it. He loses his marker. He sometimes feels like Bambi on ice when he's out towards the wing against somebody who's a little bit more tricky. So, with all that being said, I mean, maybe there is a more comfortable role for him in the center because I think it does mask one of his weaknesses, which is getting pulled out wide against tricky opponents. I think he feels a little bit more comfortable there where he has to manage and control the space instead of having to dive into tackles directly against a winger. When you're playing that central role, a lot of times your contact with the forward is actually into his back. It's not with him turned and running at you. And obviously, he had Keane against him yesterday, who is one of the better strikers in the league at running at you, at running the channels. And Kivu, I think, made a very smart decision in hindsight to play him in this match because he knew that Keane was not going to be able to outrun Bisek, but he definitely was going to be able to outrun a Cherby or DeVry. And so Bisek was able to press higher, be in the back of Keane, but then still had the pace to run in behind, even if Keane was able to take the ball down and lay it off. It wasn't a situation where Keane would then beat him in behind. Bisek was really good at mopping up, and he had some really good some really good challenges yesterday that really saved us in some situations that could have become very tricky very fast. So, I was very happy with his performance. I think that that could potentially be a role for him moving forward. It still feels a little experimental now, but I'd like to see him there more and more to see if this is the norm from him, if he can do this against better teams that are actually more free flowing and are going to actually put us under some real pressure. And the real question with Bisek isn't if he can do it in the high line, it's if he can do it in a low block. So when we have to sit deep, can we still use Bisek in that role, or are we going to have to go back to a Cherby and DeVry?
Yeah, we are the two official bisseck haters of this podcast, but I completely agree what you said. I think Bissett had a great game, and that was a great point about the high line low block because Bissett fits perfectly for this higher line style of play where we don't need to necessarily kind of be that aggressive trying to block those true passes because Bissett can handle them. He handled many of those yesterday. I think there was like one case was Moise Ken was able to uh, like sneak in
Yeah,
from
towards the
to
end of the
the
match.
breakaway. Yeah, I didn't saw the whole case because the broadcast was like showing some replays or something. And suddenly Ken was Ken was running there all alone. But I don't know like what happened before that case or that play. But but in general, Pisek like he got Ken there. There was like he couldn't do much there throughout the whole match, and he was very effective in his role. And I think it depends a lot on the kind of the match. Is it home or away? And kind of the opponent in general. If we control the match like we did yesterday, Pisek is a good option because we probably want to play high line so that we can put up proper pressure to the opponent. But against, I don't know what would be maybe a good match where we maybe don't want to use Pisek, some kind of match where there's a
Maybe like Atalanta away or something like that.
yeah maybe some tall striker who are still quite tricky in a sense. We don't want to give space behind us too much. We need this kind of a structure and order in the back line because what you said about Bissek, that the weakness is those kind of mental lapses there. They've always been there, but maybe well, just like you said, I'm repeating everything you said because I just agree on those points that maybe we can mask those weaknesses if he plays in the middle. But let's see if this experiment kind of continues. I would assume Acerbi will be back pretty soon, but I hope we 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 go more often with this type of setup where Bisek is on the center because I want to see more of that. If we can if we can use the high line, it allows us to play in a different way. We can pressure more. It becomes kind of easier in a sense to play when we can pressure more like without fear of getting burned badly in the defense when
Yeah,
we
I
have
mean, if
Bisek.
Bisek can become a legitimate option at center back for us, that's a huge benefit to this team. Because just in terms of squad building, it changes completely our summer plans as well, where instead of us having to go out and buy two players for that position, we probably can get away with just buying one, and maybe that player can be a starting caliber player. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe Bisek is not going to be the starter there full time, but if he's good enough to even be a rotation option, that's huge for us because I'll be honest, I don't think that he's good enough to be a rotation option as a right center back for us. I do not like him in that role. Um, I thought that we should have sold him last summer, and if he's going to be a right center back, I think we should sell him next summer. I don't think that he's been good enough at Inter, and he's looked very uncomfortable in that position. So if he can put on performances like he did against USG and against Fiorentina in that central role where he was very solid, well then great. I would love to continue to see him here as an Inter player. And again, it just makes our summer that much easier because we can go out and we can potentially just buy one CCB, and then we still probably would need a new right center back. But I feel like those are actually easier to find than players that we feel comfortable playing centrally.
Yeah, that's an interesting kind of dilemma we're gonna have, but maybe we can't plan ahead too much. It's just one or two matches so far, but this one at least look very good, and let's hope the experiment continues. Uh, let's move on to the next guy I want to talk about, which is obviously Sucic. Uh, we've been, or at least I've been like shitting on him recently, since his performances haven't been that good. He's been tossed around quite a lot, physically in the midfield. In recent games, he hasn't been starting that much games. Maybe that has affected as well. But this was a bit different. How did you see his performance, even apart from the goal?
Yeah, I thought that he was really good yesterday. Even apart from the goal, his first half was okay. I think everyone's first half was kind of just okay, but I didn't see anything particularly wrong there. I did see that some people were saying, really bad first half, really good second half. I thought he was fine, honestly, in the first half. I still think that he would probably feel a little bit more natural in the right central mid position. The right Mazzala is probably a little bit more of a natural fit for him, but Barella is just so nailed on to that spot. I said previously I probably would have moved Barella to the left side and played Sucic on the right side just to get him more comfortable and embed him into the team a little bit easier. But Kivu has decided to play him on the left side, and I think that that's fine if you're going to be consistent with it, because then he'll learn the mechanisms of playing on that side of the pitch. And ultimately I think it's where we need somebody, right? Because Mkhitaryan is obviously not going to be around forever. He's getting up there in age, so we need somebody who can take over that role long term. And Zelensky, I still think is a fine player. I know people have mixed feelings about him, but I think that he's still got a lot of quality, and I think that he could, at the very least, continue to be a rotational player in that left Mazzala role. But again, I think we still need somebody who long term can be the solution there, and I don't think it's going to be Zelensky. I think it will be Susic. So I thought that he was better physically yesterday. He's always going to be a runner. That's one of his skill sets. He can run for days. He made some interesting runs that we just didn't utilize. I think that as he continues to play with us more and more, and hopefully he gets a run in the side, hopefully we'll start to trust him a little bit more and play him the ball in some tighter spots, because there are times where he made some runs, but they were just ignored because we didn't want to potentially have a counter situation by playing him the ball in a tight spot. So I think he can handle it. He doesn't really turn the ball over very often. I think that we can utilize him a bit more. I think he can also be a little bit more adventurous in his play of the ball as well. He's passing sideways a lot still, but I think that he wants to play a little bit more vertically, and I think that he will and he can once he gets a little bit more confidence. But I tell you what, that goal, if that doesn't give you confidence, I don't know what will. I mean, that was absolutely class. I got hype watching it from my house. So I saw the reaction of the team. Um, Pio was doing that celebration with his hand where it's like it's too hot. Um,
Yeah.
it's like that was a class goal, and not to harp on the whole Mkhitaryan thing, but that's quite frankly just what we're not getting from him, right? I mean, he gets into fantastic positions, but he just doesn't have the composure or the ability to finish chances at his age. That part of his game has left him at this point, and it obviously has not left Sucic. So, he showed great strength with the after the layoff from Lautaro, and then he showed fantastic dribbling ability with that little drag, and then that extra little touch before he slams it into the corner, just super sexy goal. Great to see. And again, that should give him a ton of confidence moving forward. And hopefully we start to see him really explode now.
Yeah, and the goal was it was like super important. Like it was a key moment. It almost like killed the game at that point since we had scored like not that long ago before that goal. So yeah, it was very cool to see. Wasn't this his first goal, right?
That's
He
his
hadn't
first
scored
goal.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool. Like in front of the home crowd. Like yeah, first time Kurva was back, cheering there and and everything. So yeah, that was a special goal. But yeah, I think he just has this something. His movement and kind of the reading the game is that there's something like fluid and natural there. How he can use his body uh, to kind of fake the opponents, which is not some great deeds or anything, but just like somehow he there is just something I'm seeing him that once he bulks up a bit, he needs to go start going to the gym with Pio maybe steal his
It's actually
gym
crazy
program.
how slight he is because when you look
Yeah,
at him, he doesn't look like he would be so frail. Because he's tall, but he just turned 22, right? So he is young, and he's coming from a different style of football for sure in Croatian league where it's going to be a lot less physical. I mean, you've even seen like Baturina, who at one point was considered an even bigger talent than Susic. He's at Como now. He barely has been playing.
yeah,
He can't really get into the side, which is shocking because of the level of prospect that he was touted as. But making the move from Croatian league to Serie A is not for the weak. It is definitely a jump up, and Sucic has, I think, done really well with it. He'll get better. That's the best thing. At 22 years old, he's going to be with us hopefully for a very long time. And I'd love to see him start getting those minutes under his belt now, because yeah, eventually he'll fill out. It happens naturally. He's not going to be the same build at 25 that he is at 22, right? So it will happen eventually where he will become a lot more sturdy. And then yeah, watch out for that player.
yeah,
Watch out
yeah,
for a player who's strong physically, has all the confidence and all the technical ability. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like the technical skills just cannot be debated with him. Like compare his technical skills just in ball circulation and retention to Fratesi, right? So
yeah,
it's like
yeah. It's
the
like a
ceiling is just so
yeah.
much higher there, because the technical floor is so much higher, right? So I'm excited about Susic. I think that he's going to be a really good player for us, and silver lining on the Mkhitaryan injury is that hopefully he'll get a more consistent run on the side.
Yeah, this is the place to kind of take your spot in the starting 11. I'm positive there will be like Zielinski and Fratesi starting some games, but I hope it's Suchic's kind of regular spot now. But let's see. It's going to be, I guess, month when Mkhitaryan's are out, so there's few games now to be played. Actually, there's the national team break so there's not that many games actually. Yeah, but let's see, let's see. Hopefully he get a good run of games now. Uh, from now on, at least this one looked very good when the opponent wasn't like super physical and wasn't challenging him that much. So he was able to kind of play his game, like his game better now. Not that challenged in a way, in a physical sense. Uh, okay. Uh, Before wrapping the Fiorentina match, let's go briefly. Let's go through the kind of the players who weren't that impressive. I guess we need to go through those as well. I have a couple names. I assume you have also those, but what are your kind of thoughts on the?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I didn't love Lautaro's game yesterday. I thought that
Yep.
despite him actually getting, I think he actually had 2 assists. He definitely assisted the Sucic goal. He may have also
It was
assisted the Hakan.
it was the pass to Bonnie in the end, but that was for the penalty. So
Ah, okay, that's what it
yeah,
was. Okay, so I mean, he actually was decisive in the match, but
yeah,
I thought overall he wasn't one of his better games. He looks a little tired to me right now. Like maybe he's
yep.
being overplayed because Taram is not fit. So we always want to keep at least one experienced striker in the side. So it seems like it's either Boney or Pio next to him, but he has to play. And I thought that. He played pretty long yesterday. I thought that he played longer than I expected him to. I thought that he would come off a little earlier. But again, you keep him on because he is involved in the goals and because he is an experienced striker and because he's your captain, right? So he is your leader. So I understand why Kivu played him and left him on for as long as he did. But I did think that it was overall not a great match, just very sloppy from him. I mean, you even see it on the Susic goal. He's like got the ball under his feet. He's kind of like trying to figure it out, and then he just manages to get a layoff, and then obviously Sucic does the rest from there. So yeah, I didn't love Lautaro's match yesterday. What did you think about it?
Yeah. Same words. I think he's overused at this point, and I hope Kivo is not making the same mistakes what Inzaghi did. But then at the same time, kind of the reasons you explained, we need the kind of veteran theory in the forward section. But still, how useful he is if he plays like this. Like I understand in this match you use him, but there comes a time when you need to really think like, can we just bench Lautaro for now? I don't know, is he carrying some injury, but he looked really like kind of sluggish with his movements. He picked up some knock there, like early in the match. I don't know if that bothered him, but yeah, did it look good? Uh, Even though the kind of the contributions in the actual goals, but yeah, I have one other name for the kind of negative side, which is Barella, and he's to me he's had very kind of confusing or like a mixed season going on. Uh, Yesterday I felt that he was kind of he couldn't get much done. Everything went like wrong for him, even though he was everywhere. He was like trying everything, but nothing worked for him. It was a bit funny, in a sense, funny to see that he was really trying, but it just didn't. It wasn't his day yesterday, and sometimes it feels he tries a bit too complex things which end up like just failing and okay now you lost a good kind of spot to do something or we lost a possession because you tried something way too complex and at this point even though like Barella part of Barella is that he can do a bit of everything but I think at this point he should just try to kind of simplify his game a bit because it isn't working now what he's trying to do. And I think he should just try to be this kind of engine going on and like running a lot, but maybe not try to do these flicks all the time and all these kind of lob passes which don't seem to connect that much these days. Uh,
Yeah, no, agreed there. I think that it was just sloppy yesterday. Similar to Lautaro, it was just a little sloppy. I don't think it was really a terrible match. I think that again, the good thing with Barella is that he's so experienced, and I think that he's going to give you a 6 out of 10 almost every game at a minimum. And then every once in a while he'll do better than that. But I thought that that yesterday was one of those games where it was probably a 6 out of 10, and that's okay because listen, when we don't have him, you feel the difference of when he's not on the pitch.
yeah,
Um,
that's true. Yeah,
and so he's not always going to have the best match, but he's an important player just for what he brings to the side, and you know, I'm not too worried about him, but yeah, he could probably benefit from maybe just simplifying a little bit and just playing the ball a little bit faster, as opposed to trying to do too much and overcomplicating and trying to hit these Hollywood passes.
yeah, yeah. Uh, do you have anything else from the match, or do we move on to?
Yeah, the only thing, last thing I'll just touch on really quickly is that substitution of Carlos Augusto to play at right wing back when I believe we were up. I think it was 2-0 at that point, but
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah,
the match still felt a little bit open at that point, um, which it felt like until we got that penalty goal and it was 3-0. Man, Kivu just does not trust this guy at all, does he? I mean,
yeah,
that's terrible. I know how I would feel if I was a player. I I mean, I'd be like, dude, like it would crush my confidence, really. To see that the guy who played Carlos Augusto's never played on the right side ever. This is the first time he's ever played on the right side his entire Inter career, uh, and it's obviously because he does not trust you. I mean, that's a damning indictment on the player that we've signed because we got to talk about this guy has not he didn't arrive late this summer, right? Like he went to the Club World Cup, he had a full preseason with us, and now he started the season and he's been fit the entire time, and he can't come on in a match that we're leading 2-0 at home. That's not good.
that
that's
that's
that's worrying.
that
I mean, it's November now. It's about to be November. It's not like this is not August. Like if he's not regularly contributing by like December, January, we have a serious hole in our squad. We have a big issue there.
yeah, yeah, because then Dumfries he needs to play all the time, or we're gonna have Darmian back, and he's gonna be there again, even though we thought that we don't ever need to see him there in the right wing back role. But he's probably gonna be there because yeah, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Every match is the same. He just can't kind of. I think did he did game on later in the match, but
He did. I mean,
it
after we
was
got to
it
three
was like
zero.
few
So again,
minutes.
that just
Yeah,
shows that he doesn't want to put him in a game that's open.
yeah,
If there's any chance that a team could come back, he just refuses to really play him. And honestly, it's seeming more and more weird that he even got to start away at Cagliari because it's like, that was a somewhat tough match. And I mean, I thought he did okay, but it just seems like we don't trust him. And I think the cameo against Napoli as well was not good. And I think that was also in the back of Kivu's mind, where he's like, if I throw this guy out there and he has an absolute stinker and he, leads to a goal being scored, then I'm really gonna have a problem on my hands because he's gonna really have no confidence, and then even worse, the pressure from the fans and the team will be at a higher level. I think that that's really his thought process and why he was so reluctant to bring him on yesterday. I mean, at this point, maybe Diouf will actually end up with more playing time by the end of the season than Henrique will. I don't know, because from what I've seen from Diouf, at least, he seems to have a little bit more confidence to him than Henrique does. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, definitely more confidence with the. We remember the Cremonese match and the kind of run which ended up loss of possession and goal to
Right.
goal to Cremonese, but at least he has confidence. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, that's the last thing I'll say on the Fiorentina match. Overall, a very positive day for us.
yeah. One thing I want to mention actually, Andrew mentioned in the previous episode we don't discuss about referees, but I think that
No, great
no,
point. We got to talk about that.
I think those days are over now because we can't ignore this shit anymore. It's incredible what is happening. Like we just keep getting this thrown to our face all the time. Like what was that? That
Yeah.
PO case. Komutso was okay. The first one was it in the first half? The
Yeah, there was one in the
first
first half
one
that I
that
thought
that
was a fair no
yeah
call.
yeah. I guess that was a bit of both they are wrestling against each other. But the second one, how how can you not call that? Guy was just like he was pulling with his arm like. I don't get this anymore, but I'm kind
Yeah,
of
no, I think can you imagine any scenario where if BSEC does that, they don't call a foul?
yeah,
Can you
yeah,
imagine any scenario where if DeVry does that, they don't call a foul? I mean, it's getting blatant that to me, I'm not gonna go down the route of some type of overarching conspiracy or something like that for, Milan to win the league or for us to just lose the league, but it seems to me like there is a pressure now with the officials and Inter to where they feel like the eyeballs are on them. And so, especially with Conti in the media talking about, oh, I hope that, these pressures from Inter don't start to turn into poor calls, all that type of stuff, it just ramps up the pressure on the official. And I genuinely think that yesterday they didn't want to be seen as giving a soft
yeah,
penalty to Inter because they didn't want to see that they were, basically giving us something after we complained, right? I
yeah,
think that plays a factor in it, especially because Conti's complaining that he got a penalty in his match because of Inter complaining, right? Even though it was a completely legitimate penalty in that match. Um, so there's definitely a lot of pressure is the word that I just keep going back to on the officials right now, and unfortunately, it's not seeming to go our way. 'Cause it's seeming to go every way but Inter's way, and it's got to stop. And again, I mean, we've already gotten two guys suspended because of mistakes made against us. This one yesterday, it could have been decisive again, and
yeah,
again, I
yeah,
haven't seen anyone in the media who has said that it's not a penalty. Everyone's in agreement that's a penalty. So I'd be very interested to see what Rocky has to say this time about that decision. And I agree with I listened to a lot of these other inter podcasts, and Nima was saying that Rocky should be fired. Um, he should be fired. Like this is
yeah.
this
He's
is
not
this is
controlling the
ridiculous.
situation. Yeah, he's not controlling it anymore. Like there's like constant kind of issues going on with the referees and their calls. Uh, uh, and about that Conte comment when he complained about the penalty against them, it just shows that, or it feels that his gaslighting is just working because now we are not getting calls when we absolutely should have get calls, and he is trying to twist it like other way around. He just got like a great favor from the referee like few days ago against their top rival. And now he has the audacity to talk like that after his game when there's like a normal penalty getting called against him, but he just goes at it like that because he can, and no one is kind of challenging him in the media. So Well, let's hope it gets better, but I don't know. It's hard to kind of, I don't know. I'm always optimistic, so I hope it will get better, but it's impossible to predict what's gonna happen because it's been so random, and there's been other matches too, like during this season when there's like very dubious goals being made or not being made. Anyway, let's move on to the quickly. We can quickly preview the upcoming Verona match. It's going to be the afternoon match, so I guess some caps involved in the goalies. What are your thoughts about the match? Any
Oh man,
expectations?
this is a 6:30 a.m. Eastern time match for me.
Yeah.
The they call it the espresso fixture. Um, so I will be up for it. I always wake up for these things, even though I hate it. Um, but yeah, in terms of the overall match, Verona is in 17th place. They have not had a great start to the season. They do have some tricky players up top. Gift Orban has been, if nothing else, an interesting watch so far this season. So I think that he can cause some problems for us. He's got some pace. He's got some trickery. Depending on who we play in that center back role, it definitely could cause some issues for them, and it's an away match. And there really aren't too many easy away Serie A matches. So I do imagine that we will struggle a little bit in this one, but ultimately, I think that this should be one that we can see through and get done. We've actually been pretty good with our away form the last couple of years, and we've kind of had a habit of dominating and winning these type of matches against the teams that are in the lower half of the table away. So, I think that pattern will continue. So I would hope that we can have a somewhat easy victory here. And I'm going to say that we win this one 2-0.
2-0. Sounds good. Sounds good. Uh, yeah, I think in previous years we've been able to beat Verona quite easily, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was the Scudetto year when we didn't win, but I'm not 100% sure. But I remember like maybe 5 years ago or a bit over, this fixture was like a tough one. But I guess it depends a lot on the coaches, and there's been like so many years between, and I think Verona isn't that good anymore. But I don't have the data now in front of me, but did they did they actually draw with Napoli or Juve, or what was there some kind of a result that they actually
Yeah,
managed
they
to
drew
get?
against Juventus. It was 1-1.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, maybe that's not a kind of proof of anything since Juve is such a mess these days. They have a
Yeah, I
Spalletti as
mean,
the
in the
new
big
coach
matches
now. And
so far this year, they got spanked by Lazio, so they lost 4-0 away at Lazio. They got the draw at home against Juventus. They lost away at Roma 2-0. And I mean, they just their last match they lost to Como away. They lost 3-1.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I would think this should be like a, of course this should be like a 3 points. Uh, I don't know about the rotation. I assume there will be some because we have the Champions League match coming. Although I don't know if that's the match we're gonna rotate more, since
I have a
that's,
feeling against that's the one against Kairat Almaty.
yeah, and it's home
And it's
match.
home. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna be fighting a bunch of jet lag guys. I feel like we'll probably rotate damn near the whole 11 in that one. So yeah, I would expect a really strong lineup against Verona. I'm sure Lautaro will start again. I'm sure that most of the guys will start again. Probably Barella for sure. Maybe you look to rotate like a Hakan.
or
Maybe.
DiMarco maybe.
Yeah, or
Gusto.
DeMarco. Yeah, so you may make maybe one change. This is a game that maybe you even would have thought to play Martinez in, if it wasn't for the unfortunate tragedy that he was involved in, which, quick
Yeah,
sidebar on that. Definitely very sad situation with the death of that gentleman who was hit by Martinez. And from all accounts, it sounds like Martinez didn't do anything wrong. He was just driving, and the guy had a medical episode and veered into traffic. I mean, Martinez wasn't even speeding, and it's unfortunate these things happen in life, but hopefully he'll be able to bounce back from that soon mentally and get back to playing because I think he has a really big part to play in this season for us still. Because again, I don't think Sommer is the player that he was 2 years ago when we brought him in. So hopefully it won't impact him too long mentally. But anyways, 'cause that was a quick sidebar. But anyways, back to this Verona match.
yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. I think we gonna win. I don't know about the do we win like a with big numbers, but and one thing I'm very interested to kind of see is will Bisseck continue to play in the middle, or do we do we go back to Acerbi or De Vrij there?
I think almost
That's the
certainly we're gonna see either a Turby or DeVry. I'd be shocked if he played Bisek there 2 matches in a row. I mean, pleasantly shocked. I'd be maybe
yeah,
happy to
yeah.
see it, but I think that he'll go back to the old guard, just knowing how Kivu has acted thus far during his tenure here.
But do you see that Gift Orban could give us trouble with his
Absolutely, I
speed?
think that again, I think Bisek is probably a better matchup for
He,
Orban as well. Especially because I do think that we'll dominate the game and we're going to play a high line. We're not going to go to Verona and sit deep, right? So I think that playing BSEC makes a lot of sense. Um, so this will be a good test of what Kivu really wants out of this team and how much he's going to rely on these veterans, right? Because you know if it was Inzaghi, Achirby's playing, right?
yeah,
There's no debate about it. Achirby's playing. If Kivu decides that he's going to play BSEC for a second match in a row there, I think that's a statement, right? I think that's saying, hey, this guy actually could be my guy moving forward, even in the big matches, right? Because when eh, some of those Napoli goals I think would not have happened if Bisek was back there, right? Just purely based off of his ability to recover. So yeah, we'll see. I would be very interested and very pleasantly surprised if Bisek got another start.
yeah, yeah. Uh, my prediction will be we're gonna win 3-1. We can keep the clean sheet. There's some kind of a situation, and Gift Orban is able to break away and score the goal, but we will get three of them and win the match and keep winning. Uh, Anything else, or should we just wrap
I
this
think that's
up?
good, man. I think we can wrap it up there. I know this is supposed to be the Subito episode, but they got the two longest winded guys on the podcast at the same time and left us alone. So
Yeah,
turned into almost an hour.
yeah. Okay, but yeah, let's close this one and see you at the weekend then.